this is Grace with Music Mastery, and in this video I will be performing the alto saxophone part of Loch, Lomond, arranged by JaRod. And afterward I'm going to give you a tutorial on how to master the elements of this piece for your next rehearsal. So, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2. I hope that performance was helpful to you. So now we're going to go over the piece phrase by phrase so that you're able to get some tips and tricks as to how to practice this on your own. If you need help with technical things or something that wasn't covered in this tutorial, go ahead and check out the fundamental videos in the lesson library. So, as I'm looking at this piece, when I started, I was like, where do I breathe? So breathing is a big thing that helps you play the saxophone. I know, surprise. But I would recommend you to ask your director about whether he wants or she wants you to breathe in specific areas, such as like a section breath. Maybe a good one could be, where we are. Let's go down to 38, right after 38. So you've diminuendoed, but then you have to crescendo back through 39 and 40. You know, it might be a breath that your director wants you to take. But if not, go ahead and stagger breathe. So the person next to you, you don't want to be breathing at the same time as the people beside you. So definitely ask your director about that one. But we want to make sure that when we do take in our air, as like the fundamental video that I did, is make sure you're taking in the air from the bottom of your air tank up. So you're using your diaphragm and you're basically extending your stomach out for that amount of air to enter your body. Okay, so right at the Adagio 66, we have this pickup note into our first full bar of measure 1. So what I did was I counted in my brain 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And that's where you start your counting for the multi-measure break, okay? And then we come in at measure 4 on beat 3. Okay, so that's right at piano. So you want to make sure that you take those 2 rests right on 1 and 2 to take in your air and prep for the start of the note. Because you want to come in not too quiet because you want to have a good sound. So go ahead and make sure you tongue that clearly too, since it's at a smaller, lower volume. Okay, so we're going measure 8. Make sure that that's an F natural. Okay, so in a lot of saxophone music and band, we have a lot of F sharps usually. So make sure you mark that in your part that it's an F natural. Okay. We're going, and right at 11, we have this kind of broad statement that we're giving into a retardando. So you're going to make sure that you want to take in enough air where your air carries you into that downbeat of 13. So if you were stagger breathing, you could probably breathe. You could breathe right after 9. You could sneak in a breath in between the G, F natural, and E. But when you do your air, go ahead and start at 11. And we're just going to use what's called direction in our air to push our notes even through that diminuendo. So even though our volume is decreasing, our air support needs to continue to move. So right at 11, we're at a mezzo forte dynamic level. Okay, so take in those deep, quick breaths if you can, but if you can, do longer breaths to take in more air if that's possible. So then with this più emoso, that kind of means more quickly. So a faster metronome marking is put there. So quarter note equals 90. Watch your director for that one. Same with the molto ritardando that's happening there. You're going to be slowing down quite a bit, so you'll need to be watching for that to be uniformed in the ensemble. And then, we got a fast one pulled on us in measure 17. It's only for 2 counts. So right there, you're going to want to mark in your part a little. You can put the numbers 1 and 2. That helps me. And so then I know that half note, I got to remember, even though I was in 4/4, the measure before, in measure 17, I'm only counting to 2, and I got to get to the next measure, okay? So we continue, and breathing gets a little bit harder because we have these like half notes at the end of the bar, sometimes in 18 and then again in 20. And so a lot of what we want to try not to do is breathe over the bar line. Sometimes the phrase doesn't go that way, but one breath that you could try to do is in 23. We have the 3/4 notes, and then we have these 1/8 notes leading into the G. So we had the pickup note at the top of the piece, that 4/1. This is basically what that is right at 23. We're going to lead into the G. So starting at 23, the phrase ends on the C and then restarts on the B, A, 8th note. Ready? Same again, we have a mini phrase or a little motif happening right in the pickups to 26 because our money note is right on that C in 26. All of this part from 22 to 26, 25 is leading up into 26. So you want to make sure that your ear is ready for that. And then another breath you can take if that crescendo, you haven't taken a breath, is right at 27, right before the G, F natural 8th notes. Same as what I just did in measure 23, okay? So we're going, and these 8th note patterns right in 30 are basically just a C major scale, okay? We do have a couple of notes where we're going up a scale, we're going up a note and then coming back down in just a different way. So you go C, B, A, G, A, G, E, D. So we're going to be skipping that F natural. And so what it is foreshadowing is that we are going to be using F sharps for just a short while. Make sure you circle this first note in measure 32. So that's another money note because it's right at the top of that diminuendo. So this line from 26 to 32 is still forte. So make sure that your direction is moving so it doesn't become boring, okay? So we're continuing down into 35. In measure 34 we have a diminuendo. So what I like to do, or what my professor at school says, is that kind of to start the next note out of the ending of the last note. So this rest gives the room a little space for the note to kind of reverb, and then you're going to start where that note ended. So let's see. Measure 32. Here we go. Okay, so that, it was almost like a little hiccup in the air sound, but then it re-articulates right on the second beat of 35. Okay, so one other thing I was looking at was in measure 40. It says poco writ. We've had multo writ in measure 16, but this poco writ is just a little, like un poco, a little retardando into our quarter note equals 66. And so I was thinking, like, why didn't they write a multo writ, you know? But as we can see, there's quite so in measure 13, when we have the quarter note equals 90, we're slowing down quite a bit and then resetting our tempo right at 18. So it says slightly slower than the 90. Our multo writ is not connected to the 72. But down here in measure 40, it says a little slowdown because our quarter note equals 66. Going from 72 to 66 is not that hard. Is not sorry, it may be a little hard, but more like it's not gonna take you as long. So the slowing down makes the majestic more majestic. So the fortissimo right in 41 is the only time that we have that dynamic marking. So this is the start of a new idea, or like a rephrasing of something. And then another thing you'll want to circle in your part is right in 41 we have an F natural from what we've been doing in 32 of the F sharps. Okay, we're moving. Oh, in 47 we have a G, E, G, A. 47. So we're at a mezzo piano, and we have to also crescendo, but we're going down to an E, and so it's like, how does that make sense? But what we're going to be doing is we're going to move the G into the E to go back to the G and then to the A in mezzo, at a mezzo forte. So right on 47, I'm just going to show you how that kind of sounds like. Ready? 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be like a mini crescendo. So the E won't speak if you keep the same air as you did for the G. It's just with the increased resistance that the E has, we need to put more air so the E is stable on that amount of air. And then in 49, we have a crescendo into our forte. Make sure that when you're holding that note at forte, we want to still maintain a good sound. So you don't want to ever play quieter than you have a good sound for, or too loud that you have a bad sound, okay? So when you're holding that sustained note, watch your director because they're going to cut you off, and then you're immediately at a slower tempo at 66 with it also being in 2/4. So what I would do is write in my part 1, 2 to make sure I'm only counting for 2 counts because we were just in 4/4 for a little while. And then we have basically like a little scale of starting on D, right in measure 51 with F naturals. So what it could be is like a C major scale but starting on D, okay? So we're starting on D. We have no C sharps or F sharps like in a D major scale. We're still in the key of C. And then at 53, we've diminuendoed right into 53, and we have to crescendo to a forte in 2 beats. Hoo-wee! Not good. And same, we have to diminuendo in 2 counts from forte to a piano. Okay, here we go. Right at 53. Actually, I'm going to take it at 51, okay? Starting at 51. So what we talked about in 47, as the G has just the tiniest crescendo to give more air down to that E, we're doing that, but basically to a higher degree right in 53. So we're going from a C, which has pretty much no resistance or a little resistance, down to E, which has quite a bit of resistance, up to a B, and then an A. So don't be afraid to just play this part quite a few times this measure to kind of like experiment with how much air you need. So just starting on 53, I'm just going to play that. I didn't really like that one, so I'm going to go ahead and play it again. Okay, that was closer. Let's see if I can get it on the 3rd try. If not, I just do it on the 4th, okay? Cool. So what we have learned in this piece is that not all music's gonna be perfect, okay? Breathing has some room for where to breathe and how long to breathe, and Same with dynamics, is if I have a piano right next to a forte, there's going to be quite a bit of contrast for those. But look at measure 47. We have a mezzo piano into a mezzo forte. That is still going to have a little contrast, but not as much, okay? So that is it. I hope this video was really helpful to you. Make sure to recommend other members in your section to join MusicMastery.band so they can have their parts learned just as well, okay? Remember, you're a member, so you get 3 requests every month. So I'm looking at helping you master other pieces.